Hi, welcome back. This is part two of the body image roundtable discussion. I'm here with some amazing healers and practitioners and eating psychology coaches and intuitive eating coaches. And we're having this really rich conversation about body image and society and, really what's at stake here for the next generation in terms of self-worth, self-care, self-love, how we're going to show up in the world. A lot of this is tied into a relationship with food too, and chronic dieting and, taking extreme measures to change our outside appearance. One of the questions that I asked in my book was there any measure that you took ever in your life to change your exterior? And some of the answers that I heard were, it ranged from bra stuffing to liposuction and tummy tucks, and everything in between. And the message that I got loud and clear was that people are just not happy with what is being shown to them on the exterior. And, so much of this, Joe, you touched upon this, that a lot of it is soul work, right? Like in healing the soul and healing what we're really needing inside. When we feel a sense of, holistic health, when we feel a sense of like we're kind of all aligned and balanced, that shows up on the exterior too. Some of you may see like these people, they just exude confidence, right? They're just grounded and confident, and it's like, well, I want that, I want to be like that. And it's almost this like elusive thing, like how do we go about helping people achieve that? So let's dig in a little bit on that question. Anybody can jump in. And Sydney, you're on mute, by the way. Just
got it. Thanks.
Okay, so from your experience, have you had clients who've made drastic changes to their appearance?
Me personally?
Yeah, or anybody really?
I think it's more of the extreme dieting that I've seen the most of. And then this is an odd one because I don't really know how it fits into a body image per se, but like there's a larger population than you think would actually exist that are people who are cutters. And I think the way, like myself included in that group, is that like you use that strategy for a myriad of reasons, very emotional reasons, right? But what I see in some of the online space is some people who are coming out and like actually showing their scars from that situation. And so that's a whole nother body image thing that we have to deal with, is past things that have happened to us that maybe we've done to ourselves, be it a cutter, be it someone that has had a significant weight loss. Like Joe was saying, he deals with some excess skin. So like we're all dealing with something, carrying something from the past forward that we have to deal with too. But I'd say really the basket of what I see is people, a lot of women being in the drastic caloric restriction or, shall I say, food groupings, like can only eat within a certain group and only so much. So then you'll see a lot of changes that way, morphing that way.
Mm. Yeah, and it shows up a lot. It shows up a lot more than we want to talk about with men as well. So I'm going to raise my hand as the man and just say that the same thing happens. I have a client right now. He was a wrestler growing up. He was an athlete growing up. So he was indoctrinated in a culture that says your value is what your body can do for me. Right. And that continues to perpetuate when we look at like what's put on men when we go into the workforce. Your value is to create income, period. And your value is to risk your life and your body to fight wars. Right. So that's a lot of the message that we get with men. It's just as entrenched. We just don't talk about it as much. But I have a client who, he was athletic. He finally hired me. We've known each other for about a year and a half. And after about a year of knowing each other, he hired me because he's been doing the HGC diet. I don't know so the HGC diet he's done it 12 times in 3 years. He's lost and put back on 30 pounds each time. About 3 weeks of 30 pounds weight loss, 2 months of gaining it back, and he goes right back on. So yeah, there's a lot of that extreme dieting going on. There's a lot of men, especially young men, who feel like they need to bulk up to feel safe and to feel valuable and to feel grounded and to feel attractive in the world. And they're ruining their kidneys and their liver and their hearts with this like massive weight gainer stuff and all this heavy weightlifting, which I'm a huge fan of weightlifting for men, but not to the, not to the extreme that people are going through. So yeah, I believe that's a lot of what's happening, whether it's women or men. We're trying to get bigger. We're trying to get smaller in all the right ways and not accepting who we are just inside. So what to do about it? I'm a firm believer it's an inside job. I'm a firm believer it's about self-confidence, no matter what we look like, and just kind of peeling back some of the layers of what our value is that we bring to the world and identifying our value that we bring to the world. No one trains us to do that. No one trains you to be able, it's really hard. I know really successful people who bring their gold into the world and they're helping others left and right. And if you were to ask them to say, what do you do for this world? Well, tell me, like, own it. It's like, it's impossible. It's really hard for people to own their value. Own their value. So
that's such a good point. And Lauren, yeah, you had something.
Yeah, I was trying out the raise hand thing. I agree with what Joe's saying too. I think that it's really helpful to help our clients realize that a lot of the problems that they do have with like food or body image, it is external, and it is really helpful to take a look inside and really just analyze the thoughts that they do have, and especially the negative ones, and really take a look at where those come from. Because I notice with a lot of my clients, they have so much negative self-talk about like, the foods they're eating or how their body looks. And they have so much guilt around it, and they don't actually realize that a lot of the things they're saying to themselves, and for one, they don't realize what they're saying to themselves. Actually, they don't take a look at it, but also just, where it came from. If it was like from magazines or the media or something their mom used to say growing up or something their friends said. So I think really focusing on that, positive self-talk and that, self-care and looking inward and helping empower them to see that, their own intuition is more powerful than what the world's going to tell them is right for them as far as, what they should eat. Like those crazy, the crazy diets that people are doing, like they just don't, taking a step back and realizing how unrealistic that is. And also that, a lot of the people that we see portrayed as the ideal body, we don't know what their story is. We don't know. They might spend 5 hours in the gym every day, and it's worth thinking, like, do you actually want that to be your lifestyle? Is it worth spending that much time and emotional energy and effort to look like that? Where are your priorities? And knowing that it's okay to not make that your biggest priority. Obviously taking care of yourself is important, but just seeing where the most important aspects of our life are, and that it's okay not to go to the extreme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great points. Susan had her hand raised, and then Tanya right after that.
I am a rule follower sometimes. So I think one of the different perspectives that I have in this group as the most mature person, because I'm almost 70, is that a lot of the women that I know through associations, whatever, they don't understand the idea of healthy aging, and they're using surgery and everything to make themselves feel good about themselves. And the reason I bring it up is that maybe you didn't have a food issue when you were younger, but as you grow older, your self-worth still can't be rooted in just that perceived reflection that you're seeing in the mirror. I was at an event the other day and someone said, well, I sell Arbonne, and gosh, I just love getting it out and putting it on my face. I said, no. I said, I own this face. And I said, and honestly, I was really tired of the conversation. I didn't want to have that conversation. Let's have a conversation about love, about what we're giving back, about what we can do for the world, about what are our gifts that we bring to the world. That's the conversation that I like to have with people. So when they bring it up about the surgery, whatever, I said, I'm sorry, but this is just too boring. And I says, if this is as much fun as we can have together, then we're not going to be together because I'm not enjoying this. So the idea of self-worth and self-image, it's something that can almost be like that gets worse instead of better. Like, you like to think as people grow older that they're gathering some wisdom and some maturity and something that they want to give back, you know, just even within their family. Mm-hmm. So I talk to my clients a lot about, you're a leader. You are the leader of that 5-year-old. You're the leader of the 1-year-old. You're the leader of the 20-year-old. They're looking to you for greatness, for wisdom, for what would love do. You know, they're looking to you, towards you to answer those questions for them because they're younger. So sometimes I ask my clients, I said, when you sit down at the table, I don't want you talking about food. I don't want you making something special. You make all the food, put it on the table, and then you take what you want, let other people take what they want. Ask them about their day, ask them about what happened in their life, and grow from there. I said, don't talk about food, because people are starting to create this really horrible snowball so that even 8-year-olds want to be on a diet. They're starting to hate themselves at 8, at 5, at whatever.
Yeah.
It's an issue.
Yeah, no, in the book, I talk about my summer camp experience, and I literally wrote a letter to my parents. I was 10 or 9 even. And I said, Mom, Dad, guess what? I didn't eat the peanut butter at lunch today. Are you proud of me? Guess what? The nurse weighed me in. I was 90 pounds. I lost a pound. Are you proud of me? And I literally, as I was writing it, I was tearing up, because I oh my gosh, no 9-year-old or 10-year-old should be dieting. And I'm so passionate about not keeping that sort of crazy trend going, where it's 10-year-olds, and you said it, Susan, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, I feel they're not worthy, they're not good enough, they're not lovable, just as they are. And I wanted to go back in time and be eat the damn peanut butter. You deserve to eat peanut butter. It's fine. So yeah, I really relate to that. So Tanya, and I know Joe, you had your hand raised as well. So hold on to that thought. But Tanya, go ahead. You have the floor.
Everybody's made some amazing points. Thanks. It just makes me think of other things that I want to express. And I just feel like we need this revolution around what the word health is and how it's defined. Yeah. And I really feel strongly about that, especially since I spent most of my life in health and nutrition and fitness. But I mean, all everybody knows is eat this and move more. It's all around exercise and nutrition. And that definition is so limiting. And I think it's really up to people like us and books like yours, Jenny, to really change that paradigm, and people are, when my clients come into my office, it usually is around weight or a dissatisfaction with themselves, and happiness in life and self-love. And they're usually pretty shocked when I don't really talk about food much. And I love that, we've been talking about that. I'm really talking about their personal power and their purpose. Like a bunch of you have mentioned that, and how important that is, and how much energy we spend on the worrying about the nutrition and the fitness and what I am doing and what I'm not doing. Is it working? Is it not working? And it's oh my gosh, what are we on this planet for? We all want to be happy and loved and accepted and feel like we're contributing. And so, really changing the conversation, getting in all these different places where we can have some impact on kind of where the message isn't so great, And for me, that's, my little area is in that fitness world. And they just want me to come in and talk about what to eat. That's all they want from me. And then when I come in and I talk about, the principles of eating psychology and the quality of your relationships and your fears around money and, how you feel about your body, I get some feedback this is edgy. And some of the gym owners aren't ready for it. But you know what? I'm just going to be me. And I feel really strongly about the subject. And we just got to do it.
Hallelujah to
That's
you,
amazing.
Tanya.
Yeah.
So Joe,
I'm all hot and sweaty and fired up.
So Joe was going to say something, then Sydney, I saw your hand raised as well, so you'll speak right after.
I just want to say that I love what you just said, Tanya. The idea of redefining health, what is healthy. And again, from the men's perspective, I've got a real bone to pick. Men's Health magazines, it's not about health. It's about abs, boners, and biceps, bottom line.
Yep.
It's one of my lines. It's like, what are we talking about here? We're talking about abs, boners, and biceps. Get out of here. Come on. I mean, those are all great. They're wonderful things, but that's not the value. So anyway, what I wanted to bring up here is when we talk about body, when we talk about body image, I believe that we have to go deeper than body image. So if we're just talking about what I imagine my body looks like, what I think other people believe it looks like, how I'm judged based on this, how I'm judging myself based on aesthetic, we're really not getting to the root either. So I know with clients, something that's been powerfully helpful, and I had this type of session with a coach, again, even before I got into the IPE stuff, the eating psychology stuff, which was basically, what is the purpose of your body? And starting to dive in and ask questions. When has your body failed you? When has your body surprised you? What's happened as you've seen your body age? What was the time where your body was treating you perfectly? And ultimately, what's going to come of your body eventually when we're talking about aging as well, too? At the end of the day, I love, has anyone heard of a comedian named Duncan Trussell? He's very, probably into the psychology a lot. He's very into spirituality, big Ram Dass kind of guy. And he talks about, we're just carrying around these meat suits, right? That we use to keep our consciousness going, that we use to travel the world with. And the reality is, at the end of the day, all of us will be dust, right? All of us are going to deteriorate and disintegrate, and our bodies will continue to change in a way that we don't really want. So how do we restructure our understanding of what the body is and its purpose and what it's here for and what it can do? And I know that I've had to do a lot around that. And as a young man, I started having a lot of kidney stones, and just looking at the fact that, okay, I'm like a 19-year-old urologist's office, right? There's a big exploration of body that goes well beyond body image. And I do think that to impact body image, we need to take it deeper than that level as practitioners.
That's so great, Joe. Really excellent way of thinking about things. It's a little morbid, but that's okay. No, I'm just kidding. This is, it's true. We all are dust, and we have stardust.
Right.
Dust to dust and stuff. In my book, I call it, you said a meat suit, right?
Yeah, the meat.
I call it a spacesuit. So the whole first part of my book is about how we're just sort of in a spacesuit and temporarily, and it houses these amazing souls inside. But if we don't tap into those souls and we don't, touch people soul to soul, like the same way that we do physical body to physical body, then we're never going to really know heaven on earth. We're never going to really understand happiness and fulfillment in the deepest sense. So I really resonate with what you're saying, Joe. That's awesome. And Sydney, I know you had your hand raised too. So
yeah. At the risk of going a little edgy here, I wanted to touch a little bit on like this competition between women sort of thing that's going on, and like sort of the comparison thing. Like we see it a lot in the fitness field, especially, and sort of like what's the root of that? And I've heard some banterings going around about like, the diet culture or the way to keep women or females suppressed within a society is to keep them fixated on their body so that they can't be bigger than them focusing on the body, right? So they can't focus their energy beyond that to their greater gifts. How are they going to like impact the world? And it's an interesting dive into, what do we believe masculinity is, what do we believe femininity is, and what are those roles, and who's supposed to fit what in society. Joe had written in a blog post on what it means to be like more of an evolved masculine, right? And I think we have a lot of just perverse masculinity around Earth right now that's influencing men, and it's influencing women to become more of a masculine mindset, right? Like we are just completely diverging from what it means to be a being that has both masculine and feminine, but we as women, I'll speak to as a woman, like I'm inhabiting a female meat suit. right? And so it's like figuring that out. And I think that where the problem lies is that this perverse masculinity overarching influence on us is what's creating the divide among women in the competition, because masculinity can be very competitive. And so it's dividing us into what we look like as individuals. And so how can I get the man? How can I get the job? How can I get the whatever? And that's leading us down this sort of death trap. We're all just going to, like, we're not going anywhere. So what's the antidote? And I guess I really think the antidote here is that we have to come together as a community of women. Like, we have to figure out a way to let go of what so-and-so looks like on the Instagram and maybe talk to her as a human being and build those sort of human-to-human connections that we've lost because we're in this world that's so we're on our screens all the time. Like, we're not sitting down with people in a group and having a heartfelt conversation, because what I see what happens when I get together with a group of women is, like, it doesn't matter that Connie's butt is this big, or, you know, Betty's boobs are this ginormous, or whatever it is. We're all in this space loving on each other's wisdom and love and in the passionate space. So I feel like that's part of the antidote is getting back together into community instead of being so, you know, separated in competition. I'm curious what people's thoughts are on that.
Now, I thought about the same thing, Sydney, is that women are becoming more of a masculinity that I don't admire in men. So they're like defaulting to that, and I feel incredibly sad about it. Super, super sad about it.
Yeah.
Because the feminine is so, I mean, my God, it's nurturing, it's nourishing, it's a miracle. My God, our bodies open up, and then we snap back into our other, you know, I mean, people just are not tuned into what a miracle they are as a human being. You know, there were no human beings when the dinosaurs were here. Mm-hmm. We've evolved from, like, just, you know, particles. And so not to honor, respect, admire, glorify in that is just a waste of humanity. Throwing bombs, killing. Someone was killed at a gym right near me the other day. The mindset is so, there's us, you know, I'm going to give us all a compliment of being of a higher mindset, you know, but there's a huge faction that's not, and they're lost. And I feel honored to be able to work with people and to remind them of who they are as a human being and to bring them into a much deeper space. And I agree with you that it's a big problem, what you just described.
We're really all on a journey, right? And even like you just said, we're even us as practitioners and as coaches and healers or whatever, that we still can fall prey to some of these
absolutely
types of alluring competition and feeling like, wow, so-and-so is doing this and I'm not doing that. I should do that. And comparisonitis, I call it. But I mean, it's another sort of subset of this whole conversation for sure. And, you know, Sherry, you haven't jumped on in a while, so I wanted to give you a chance to say something if you felt that you wanted to.
I just started to talk and I realized I was on mute earlier. Just to piggyback on what Sydney was saying, like the competition among women, like totally, I totally get that. But think even about just social media, like the competition just on Facebook. When you talk about, you know, being face to face with people and loving people, like when I grew up, you know, which was 100 years ago, but I mean, we didn't have cell phones, you know, and it's like everything was face to face. I mean, when I was on the phone, I was attached to a wall. So everything we did was connecting. Like we spoke to people. When I talked to my teenage daughter and she's texting, I say, why don't you pick up the phone and call? And she would say, what would I say? You know, like people don't connect like that. And then on Facebook, everybody presents their most perfect self and this most perfect life to the world as if that's their whole being. And people don't broadcast like I'm struggling usually. Most of what you see is like this perfection. So then all you see as the participant or reader of that is, I want to be that. Like, I don't have that, and I need to get that. So, you know, it's just life now. It's sad, but we need to make extra efforts of encouraging the next generation as well as continuing it with ourselves, but to start the face-to-face and the human contact, and not just keeping in touch with people on a screen.
Yeah, and I will just say, like, when I was growing up, there was still a lot of that. Like, I looked up to the Days of Our Lives characters and the soap operas, and, like, you know, there was the Cindy Crawfords, and there were, like, you know, we all had those people that we sort of like, wow, if I look like that, or if I'm going to get the guy, and I'm going to get this, and I'm going to be rich, and I'm going to be famous. And I think those things, you know, have existed for a long, long time, but this has only been, it's almost like compounded by the digital age and compounded by social media, making it far worse than it ever was. So just in the interest of time, I think we're going to just maybe wrap up. And what I'd like to do is just summarize. This has been, wow, such a like rich conversation. There's so much more to discuss, honestly. You know, the solutions, I think we're on to something. Let's just put it that way. The fact that so many of us could congregate in one space and we're all in the same mission is very promising and feels very hopeful to me. And it's up to all of us and so many other people to keep this conversation going ultimately, and to touch as many people as we can, you know, through the amazing, you know, social media, the fact that we have this and we can, you know, send this recording to our audiences is one way that we can share this important message, right? And so I want to be able to utilize our skills and our gifts in a way to do as much good as we possibly can, to change the conversation, to do these paradigm shifts, to do the hard work, and to recognize, yeah, we're all on a journey. There's no simple answers here. And what I'd like to do just in summary is I'd like to give everybody a chance to just let the audience, whoever was watching this, know how we can get in touch with you. So if you have a website or maybe an email or some course that you're offering, feel free to go, you know, just go around and say, you know, any last final words and where we can find you. And I'll just finish by saying that my book, The Body Image Blueprint, will be available for purchase next Friday, April 21st. So awesome. I'm really excited about it, and I hope everybody will read it and you know, use it as a platform and to keep this conversation going. So thank you, all of you, for taking the time this afternoon to congregate with me, to have this important conversation, and definitely let's keep it going. So Joe, why don't we start with you just to summarize?
Well, thank you. So I'll start by saying I'm grateful to be here. Thank you, Jenny, for putting this together. I'm inspired by hearing your mission, how connected it is to wanting to stop the propagation of crazy dieting consciousness and body image. And when it comes to your daughters, whenever I have a prospective female client and we're working together talking about what are we going to do, are we going to do this, when she starts talking about her daughters, I'm in. Okay? So thank you. Just I really appreciate everyone here. So as far as how to get in touch with me, I do have a website, dropthearmor.com. And you can just email me. The website's in a little transition. I think I'll be transitioning soon to just to joebernstein.me.org, whatever. But for right now, you can just email me. I'm great with email, joe@dropthearmor.com. And armor is spelled the US way, ARMOR.com. Thanks.
Thanks, Joe. Lauren, let's go over to you.
Sure. Well, I just want to say thank you as well. This has been really awesome, and I'm so excited for your book, Jenny, and thanks for everybody's time. I'm so happy to connect with you all. So my website is livemorewithlauren.com, and that might be changing kind of soon, but that's it for now. You can also reach me at just lauren@livemorewithlauren.com. I have a Facebook group too, but you can find that through my website. So yeah, that's how to get in touch with me.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
All right, Sherry, over to you.
Sure. One more thing I wanted to add is really quickly is my body image client that I had this past year was wanting to gain weight. So I just want everybody to, I mean, I know you all are aware of it, but that's also an issue for people too. It's not always about losing weight. And then a new client I just signed on is the same thing. She needs to gain weight. So, it's everybody has their own issues. It's not always about weight loss. My business name is Changed Forever, and my website is iamchangedforever.com.
Great. Thank you, Sherry.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Jenny, for putting this together. It was great.
My pleasure. Sydney, over to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Jenny, for this opportunity. What an accomplishment to sit down and do a book and follow through. So congratulations to that. It's super exciting. I'm really actually excited to see how I can use it as an application with the people that I work with. So I'm looking forward to that. People can reach me at my website, which is euphoria3.com. That's YOUPHORIA and the number 3.com. I do have a Facebook page, which is Body Bliss with Sydney, CYDNEY. And you can reach me at Sydney at euphoria3.com as well. There's ways to reach me beyond that too. So looking forward to connecting.
Awesome. Thanks, Sydney. That's a very clever website name. I love it.
Yeah, thanks. It's 3, like mind, body, spirit, because I don't think we're just about, the body. That's the 3 part is all 3 things that we're trying to address here.
Awesome. Okay, Susan.
Jenny, congratulations. I am so excited for you, and thank you so much for organizing this. It was a pleasure to meet all of you, and I think you're all incredibly impressive. So really happy to have connected. Listeners can get in touch with me at mindbodyweight.com. It's super easy. So I'm on Instagram and Facebook, but honestly, I'm with Sherry on that. Just get in touch with me at mindbodyweight. Let's have a conversation and enjoy our lives.
Awesome. Great. And Tanya, last but not least, how can we reach you?
Thanks. Thanks again, you guys. It was such fun meeting and connecting with fellow IPE or anybody in the nutrition eating psychology world. I love this conversation around, I think it was Sydney who said this, it's mind, body, and spirit. That's a huge piece of my practice as well. Jenny, congratulations on your book. I can't wait to read it and use it with my clients. My website is just my name, tanyamark.com, and you can reach me via my email through my site. And I also have a Facebook page, and it's called Empowered Women's Wellness Club. So thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I will talk to you guys soon, hopefully.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.